Human Rights reports that massive rapes committed against Rohingya refugees are now causing an upsurge of births. And in Singapore, an ASEAN-themed street fair was set up at a new cultural hub in Geylang Serai, featuring 10 stalls selling goods from each of the 10 ASEAN member countries. Let's start in Malaysia. Police have confiscated designer bags containing cash and valuables in a raid related to an operation that is connected with an ongoing probe into One Malaysia Development Berhad or 1MDB. State news agency Bernama reported Friday that 72 bags of jewelry, cash in a variety of currencies, almost 300 boxes of designer handbags and other luxury goods were seized in a raid Wednesday night in the downtown Kuala Lumpur development Halan Rahat Hula. It said a unit is linked to former Prime Minister Najib Razak. Malaysian police have since Wednesday raided 6 premises around Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya, including the Prime Minister's office, the official residence of former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Razak, and 4 private residences linked to him. Authorities said the total value of the seizures are still being calculated. Here in the Philippines, ousted Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno said President Duterte should resign because it is clear that he had a hand in her ouster. Speaking at the forum hosted by the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, Sereno pointed out that it was Duterte himself who said in a speech that the Congress should fast-track her impeachment. In the same speech, Duterte declared that Sereno is his quote-unquote enemy. The palace later explained that the order was meant for Duterte's PDP Laban party mates in Congress. The ousted Chief Justice also stressed that it was Executive Department's Solicitor General who initiated a quo warranto petition against her. Under the rules of court, quo warranto petitions can be initiated by the Solicitor General or by a public prosecutor. President Duterte denied involvement in her ouster and vowed to resign if anyone could prove that he was behind the removal of the Chief Magistrate from office.
Ayaw kong pati ako dyan, dinadamay nila. I said if there is one congresswoman or congressman or just a single justice magsabi may kinausap ako dyan, I can guarantee you, I will resign. Sinabi ko na nga kay Sereno, hindi ako nakialam. Kaya yung galing akong China, akong binabintangan, nagalit na ako, but that was, hindi ako tumatago ng sentimento, kaya ginubuli. But tanongin niya paski sino, I never lifted a finger.
Well, you know, the senators are free to sign such a resolution. The resolution, of course, forms part of their inherent legislative powers. But we also note the statement of Secretary Ping Lacson that it appears to be premature because no articles of impeachment has been forwarded to the Senate. But of course, we respect completely the discretion of the Senate to file this resolution.
Voting 8-6, the Supreme Court has ousted Sereno by granting the quo warranto petition filed by Solicitor General Jose Calida. Staying here in the country, Malacanang said on Thursday that the government has raised with China the issue of Latter's deployment of missiles and other military facilities in reefs that belong to the Philippines. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano had informed him that the Philippine side discussed the issue during a recent bilateral consultation with China. The disclosure came weeks after U.S. news network CNBC reported that China had installed anti-ship cruise missiles and surface-to-air missile systems on 3 of its outposts in the South China Sea. CNBC quoted unnamed sources as saying that according to U.S. intelligence assessments, the missiles were moved to the Philippines' Fiery Cross Reef, Subi Reef, and Mischief Reef. There were also some photos published showing China has deployed a military aircraft to Subi Reef. President Rodrigo Duterte earlier admitted knowing about China's militarization in the South China Sea, but indicated that he saw no need to question the deployment of China's air assets to Manila-claimed reefs. To other news, the United Nations Assistant Secretary General for Human Rights reports that massive rapes committed against Rohingya refugees some 9 months ago are causing an upsurge of births. The report came following the officials' visit to the region. Take a look.
Many thousands have disappeared, but even higher numbers are victims of sexual violence. So many, we believe that actually there was a massive and systematic campaign of sexual violence. Now, of course, if rape is carried out on what we believe could have been a massive scale, there is inevitably going to be a surge of births. We have heard reports of a lot of self-induced abortion, including of girls as young as 14 years old. We have spoken to victims or people who have recently arrived and reported that there are still ongoing rapes. And now, when girls are taken away by the military, we're hearing stories that they don't come back, and of course their families fear the worst. And that is another reason why the families are compelled to leave Rakhine State in Myanmar and seek refuge.
Anniversary to Eagle Broadcasting Corporation. This is Sister Gladys Reyes Someru, and we wish you more years to come.
Eagle Broadcasting Corporation not only provides news and entertainment, but also fulfills its social responsibility through clean-up drives, blood donations, medical mission, and livelihood seminar. Eagle Broadcasting Corporation into its 50th year.
Landmarks, Linggo, alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi.
Welcome back. Indonesia hopes travel advisories produced by a number of countries following recent terror attacks in the country will not affect the 18th Asian Games to be held in Jakarta and Palembang from August 18 to September 2. Coordinating Minister for Human Development and Culture, Puan Maharani, noted that travel advisories were produced as an implementation of responsibility of countries that produce them for their citizens in Indonesia or who are going to go to the country. Maharani appealed to the community and mass media to arouse the spirit of optimism with regard to the country's readiness to stage the event. Some foreign countries such as Britain, the US, Singapore, and Australia have issued travel advisories for their citizens in connection with the suicide bombing attacks in Surabaya in the past few days. In their advisories, citizens of the countries in Indonesia are advised to monitor local media for their update on the terror attack. Meanwhile, Australian bank ANZ has sold its majority stake in a Cambodian joint venture to Japanese financial firm J Trust as it shifts focus away from Asia and onto core assets. The Australian-listed company said late Thursday it would continue to own its 55% stake and manage the joint venture, ANZ Royal Bank, for up to 12 months as it transfers the business to J Trust. The bank has already divested its retail and wealth management arms in 6 Asian countries and recently completed the sale of its stake in Shanghai Rural Commercial Bank. According to ANZ Farhan Parukwi, the sale is in line with their efforts to exit minority investments and partnerships to focus on their institutional business in Asia. ANC did not reveal the value of the deal, but said it could record an estimated loss of 30 million Australian dollars after the sale is completed. The sale is subject to regulatory approval from the National Bank of Cambodia and the country's Commerce Ministry. ANZ earlier this month reported a 14.2% jump in interim net profit of 3.32 billion Australian dollars from the 6 months to March 31. Shares in ANZ were trading 0.38% higher to 28.10 Australian dollars midday in Sydney Friday. The Philippines and Papua New Guinea signed a joint declaration of agricultural cooperation with emphasis on rice production to ensure that there is food security in both countries. President Duterte bared this after his meeting with Papua New Guinea Prime Minister Peter O'Neill in Malacanang, where they discussed various topics including defense and security cooperation, trade and investment relations, agriculture cooperation, and people-to-people exchanges.
We are pleased to have witnessed the signing of a joint declaration of agricultural cooperation with emphasis on rice production. We have asked our relevant officials to negotiate and conclude at the soonest possible time an agreement that will bring our bilateral agriculture cooperation to the modern era. One that will truly be transformative and a hallmark of genuine partnership. I congratulate
Prime Minister O'Neill, for his part, expressed appreciation for the communique signed between the agriculture ministers of the Philippines and Papua New Guinea.
We have a very strong presence of the Filipino investment community, and not only that, but also Filipino workers who are providing good technical support, and particularly in education and health in our country. I appreciate the communique that we have signed today between our two ministers to advance again the agricultural relationship between our two countries, in particularly in production of the rice fields in our country, where we need to ensure that there is food security for both Papua New Guinea and the Philippines.
Corporation, I would like to wish you a happy 50th anniversary. Kung alam niyo lang po kung gaano kasaya na nakakatrabaho ko kayo at meron akong support nyo, maraming salamat po. And I'm praying for more success and happiness sa inyong group. And thank you so much. Sana po ay makaselebrate ako with you. Have fun!
Whoever they are, and wherever they may be, they all have the same message. Mata ng Agila, Mondays through Fridays, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Only here at Net 25.
Pep News, Linggo, alas 4 hanggang alas 5 ng hapon.
Welcome back. The state-run Myanmar Railways will sign deal with tender winners for a Yangon Railway development project in 2 months. Xinhua Net News reports that a 3-company consortium consisting of a local firm, Mindama Company Limited, Singapore-based Oxley Holdings Limited, and China-based Sino Great Wall Company were opted in February as the tender winners to redevelop the prime site around the Yangon Central Railway Station. Myanmar Railways invited tenders for the Yangon Central Railway Comprehensive Development Project worth $2.5 billion for the second time in 2015 after an initial attempt in 2014 which was cancelled for the lack of suitable applications. The project will signify the country's prospective largest joint venture investment project during the incumbent government and is estimated to last for 8 years, creating over 100,000 job opportunities. Meanwhile, the first high-level Cambodia-China Tourism Forum was held on Thursday, aiming at exploring opportunities to further promote tourism ties between the two countries. Cambodian Deputy Prime Minister Not Nam Hong said Cambodia-China tourism cooperation, especially under the Belt and Road Initiative, was crucial to enhance people-to-people exchanges and deepen communication and understanding between the two peoples. Nam Hong said, as the world's second-largest economy, China had importantly contributed to the global economy in the last 2 decades, adding that the development of China was the pride of Asia in the 21st century. Co-organized by Cambodian Ministry of Tourism and China's Ministry of Culture and Tourism, Xinhua News Agency reports that the half-day forum attracted about 400 participants from the two countries. He said that during the first 3 months of 2018, Cambodia welcomed more than 1.7 million foreign tourists, up 13.9% year-on-year, of whom more than 500,000 were Chinese tourists, up 85%. Chinese ambassador to Cambodia, Xiong Bo, said China had always paid high attention to strengthening tourism cooperation with Cambodia because the cooperation was vital to promote people-to-people exchanges and enhance friendly relations between the two countries. And finally, in today's program, an ASEAN-themed street fair was set up at a new cultural hub in Geylang Serai in Singapore, featuring 10 stalls selling goods from each of the 10 ASEAN member countries. It was organized and hosted by Wisma Geylang Serai. The fair is part of this year's Hari Raya Bazaar. It also coincides with Singapore's chairmanship of the regional Wadi this year. Ambassadors and high commissioners of all ASEAN nations attended the fair to break fast together. Hosting the event, Senior Minister of State for Defense and Foreign Affairs Dr. Maliki Osman said the fair will allow Singaporeans and citizens of the ASEAN countries to learn from each other. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Nea Mangawang, always one with 25.